I just wanted to peruse my older videos just to show the progression a little bit of some of the advice that I've given. There are some people who've been following me for a long time, and there are a lot of people who just recently joined up. It's like I think I add about 300 subscribers per month. Each time YouTube posts how your channel is doing, I actually post it up so this way people understand, that there is growth and, just to see what it looks like. So if you look 4 years ago, I was recommending to people a lot about purchasing real estate, something that I've kind of calmed off on simply because the Federal Reserve has increased interest rates and causes housing prices to skyrocket to the point where now even a starter house is like $500,000. So right here, I actually made a video talking about how I had saved up a lot of YouTube money, and I had also made a lot of money on the stock market using YouTube money, and how I was going to buy my next house. That was 4 years ago. So I actually ended up buying that second house on, what was it? Veterans Day 2018, I believe. Veterans Day 2018 was when I actually signed. What is this? The next thing you got is Marijuana Stock Watch. Marijuana stocks, at a certain point, there was a run on them, and then after that, they basically fell down. So basically, when I talk recently about IPOs and Ponzi schemes, especially SPACs, marijuana stocks remind me exactly, well, I should say AI kind of reminds me exactly of marijuana stocks. The problem is you have some good companies and you have a lot of new startups that have clever names, and the problem is they're all looking for investment, they're all looking for capital, but they're not really building a profitable business. They're just trying to cash out. So that's one reason why you haven't heard me talk about marijuana anymore. I made my money on marijuana and I got out. It was just that simple. It was just like with oil stocks, I should say. Oil went negative. I piled money into oil. As soon as oil went up, something that I could have never imagined was going to happen when Russia and Ukraine went to war, it sent most of my better stocks just 3,000, 4,000, 5,000% higher, because you got to remember I bought in when it was negative. We'll get to that later. Bitcoin ruled the world 1 year ago. That was a video where I was talking about the federal government got involved with Bitcoin, and as soon as it did, I was like, nah, this is done. It's almost as if, there's that old saying, they say buy the rumor, sell the fact. If you buy the rumor, then that means that you're well positioned just in case anything happens. But by the time everybody else knows about it, that's when the money starts piling in. The problem is that's when you need to be cashing out, because once everybody else gets in, they're going to just ruin it, especially the federal government. The federal government's, if they're involved in anything, you don't want to be in it. It's just that simple. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. What did Ronald Reagan say? Yeah, the most dangerous words are, hi, we're the federal government, we're here to help. If a president was telling you that shit and you're not listening, what else is there, Let's see. Here's a couple of shitty videos that I did from promotions. And then this was when coronavirus first hit. Coronavirus 3 years ago. Market watch meltdown. That was when the market went to zero, or you saw, I believe it was March 18th, 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Federal Reserve quickly cut rates to zero. So you see, that's the thing. If you go through your favorite gurus' videos and you just look at their playlist, or you look at the progression of their videos, it's easy for you to tell who's full of shit and who's not. It's very easy. So I made a stock video talking right away about what you should invest in for coronavirus. One of the stocks I think I suggested you to invest in was CTIC. CTIC started going up from like 80 cents, and look at it now. It recently shot up to $9, just recently. So that was 3 years ago. Now, I was telling you to get it at 80 cents. It's called Cell Therapeutics, CTIC. And it went from 80 cents to right now it's fucking $9 over 3 years. Think about that. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not one of these people. You know how people say, oh, yeah, what you should do is sell real quick and take your profits. No, 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 no. If I had sold at $3 or $4, yeah, I would have made some money. Absolutely, I would have made profit. But it went from $3 or $4 to $9. That's why I try to hold on for the long run. I was talking about these airlines. The airlines had plummeted in price. Now, the one thing about the airlines is airlines have never been profitable. They're not profitable for the very simple reason there's too much overhead. And they kind of operate at a loss. And in many cases, they operate at the government's behest. But at one point, they had very, very high valuations. But they have not been profitable recently, and they won't be for a long time. Especially when you have COVID having wiped out all their profits and then caused the government to start spinning into debt. But the bottom line is, if you want a JetBlue or American Airlines or Delta, Delta, American Airlines, United Airlines, JetBlue, Japan Airlines, South China Airlines. The bottom line is, it's like when their stocks are really low, those are the stocks that I could see you buying and not holding on to and flipping because they don't even pay a dividend for the most part. So I don't have a problem shorting those. And then this right here was my claim to fame. Now, I want you to notice, here I go into these oil stocks. I talk for 35 fucking minutes about oil stocks. Now, I want you to notice, there's only 2,400 views on that. Why? Because YouTube suppressed the information. That's what they did. YouTube suppressed anything that was related to coronavirus, COVID. They changed the whole goddamn algorithm. So to tell you the truth, I think it's time for people to start thinking about whether or not they should take legal action against YouTube for suppressing good information and only publishing information that people paid them to publish. I think it's time for people to start thinking about that, because if they're suppressing information that could have been used to make you money, well, you tell me, what do you call that? It's not censorship because it didn't come from the government itself. The government can't censor us. But I just want you to think about that. YouTube suppressed information that could have been used to make you money. Just think about that for a second. So then I kept on going. I was talking about buying the banks. Buy the banks, not Bitcoin. Now, if you had bought these banks when these banks collapsed, JP Morgan Chase, Capital One, Wells Fargo, if you had bought these banks when they collapsed, you'd be sitting on nothing but returns. Once again, this video only had 1,000 views on it. What does that tell you? So here I am. Now, I want you to think about that, because I've heard people say this bullshit before, like when I talk about just pearly things. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, if you've got over 100,000 or if you've got like 1 million followers, then you should have, on your live views, you should have thousands of people watching, right? What they don't seem to understand is that because of YouTube's algorithm, if you do short videos, then the problem is you gain a lot of subscribers, but those subscribers are point-and-click subscribers. Those are, like these idiots who sit around watching TikTok all day and getting brainwashed by the Chinese government. Well, they're just flipping through videos. They see your video. They may like one of them, so they push subscribe. So what ends up happening is you get a lot of followers who aren't active followers. Like, they're not productive on your channel. They're not donating to your channel. They're just subscribers who come, who may like some of your content. Like, you could do one video and they're like, yeah, I want to see more of this. They subscribe and then they never come back. Or maybe they subscribe and because of the algorithm, they don't get to see your other videos. Because you got to understand, if you're subscribed to somebody, every single time they make a video, it should automatically come up as a notification. YouTube changed the algorithm to make it so that that doesn't happen. I'm subscribed to a couple of guys. Like, there's a guy who has a channel where he systematically eliminates rodents, filthy squirrels, and pesky rodents, right? And his channel is Ed Gun Leshy, EDGUN Leshy, right? And he has like the most violent videos I've ever seen of eliminating rodents and pests, especially like raccoons because they can attack you, right? YouTube made it so that I have to physically remember to go to his channel to remember to watch his videos because I don't get notifications for him, despite the fact that I subscribe to notifications for him. So imagine you had 1 million followers and they weren't getting your notifications each and every time you went live, or they weren't getting your notifications each and every time you post a video. Think about that for a second. That's nothing less. What you know? What the term that some people use, and sometimes I think it's inaccurate, is shadow banning. The problem with saying that is that you too change the algorithm on the app that's in your phone depending upon what videos you're looking at. Like, for example, if I search through Mega Man videos, because let's say I'm playing Mega Man on the computer and I'm searching through Mega Man videos because I'm looking for items and shit, that's going to change the algorithm temporarily to search for nothing but Mega Man related videos, right? So here what they've done is they've created an algorithm that is not only suppressing information, but it's also causing you to suppress your own information simply by you searching for certain things. Now, I understand the logic of it favoring certain things. Like, it's basically trying to help you look at certain things. But none of that should matter. If I'm looking through Mega Man videos and Just Pearly Things posts a new video, I should be getting that notification. It's no different than if somebody texts you. You should automatically get that ding that says somebody texted you, regardless what you're doing. I think you understand the logic that I'm using here. But the bottom line is, it's bullshit. What they're doing is bullshit, and nobody's doing anything about it. When I see a problem, I call it out immediately. Now, the problem is, what can you do about it? So I need you to help me figure that one out. And please don't tell me about just take all your stuff and go over to another channel or another app, because the problem is you get even less views and stuff over there. What's ironic is TikTok, as much as I hate TikTok and I hate the people on it talking shit about past Pro Bros, the ironic thing is TikTok doesn't have an algorithm like that. TikTok just posts videos, posts videos, posts videos. If you're subscribed to somebody, TikTok just tells you. They don't care. And I guess that's one of the reasons why YouTube and Facebook can't compete with TikTok. Even Facebook. Facebook right now, some of us, and I know I am, we've signed up for a class action lawsuit against Facebook. And the class action lawsuit is because Facebook was selling our personal data. So I'm going to get paid out of that. I have no idea how much money I'll get paid, but I'm going to get paid a piece of that money because it's a class action lawsuit. I've signed up for class action lawsuits before, forgotten all about it, and then all of a sudden I come to my mailbox, there's a check in the mail. So, yeah, I'm going to get paid one way or another, but I have no idea how much it'll be. It'll probably be like less than $50 or less than $100 or something. I'm just happy to take a piece of Zuckerberg's ass out of his pocket. That's all I even if it was a check for $1, it's a piece of Zuckerberg's dollar that he didn't want to give up. And as far as I'm concerned, I would take that check, cash that check, and then frame that shit, the used check, and just frame that shit on my wall. So what I'll do is I do the mobile deposit, and then I'll take that check and frame it on the wall, just to say fuck you to Zuckerberg. And that's all I'm about. That's what I'm about. It's petty, yes, but that's what it is. Because you broke the rules. So you have to pay. And that's it. So let's keep going. Then I started bragging about my stock investment advice and how good it was, because all of a sudden after and this is the point where my credit hit 850. And then Apple announced their 4-to-1 stock split. So basically, I told everybody, listen, get into the stock split. That was 2 years ago. Tesla Tesla announced a 5-to-1 split. And I remember that was when Tesla hit like $1,000 for like the first time, right? Now, I had been in Tesla since 2012, and it took a long time for Tesla to get to 300. Now, when it did get to 300, I was like, wait a minute. I thought this was as high as it was going to go. It actually blew through 300. It went to like 330 or something like that. But then it kept going. And I was like, wait a minute. This is a possibility. This could go to $1,000. Not only did it go to 1,000, it blew through 1,000. So I'm thinking to myself, I was like, okay, if they're going to do a stock split, you buy one share of Tesla, you've got 5 shares. Now, they're worth the same amount that you paid. If you pay 1,000 for one share, if you pay 1,000 for 5, it's worth the same amount. But see, here's what happened. When Apple did their stock split, everybody else took notice, and they say, you know what, we want to cash in on that, because if they're doing a stock split right now, these people are getting their money back from their tax returns, and we want to capitalize on that. So don't be surprised when you see these companies doing stock splits around tax season. And the reason why is because they know you have disposable income, and they know that they can get that income. So what they're going to do is they're going to time their stock splits to coincide with tax season. It makes perfect sense. In fact, that's what they should do, so that this way, they could get the maximum amount of money. But Apple did a 4-to-1 split. Then Tesla did the first split. They did a 5-to-1 split. I want you to notice, I got 1.7 views in thousands. Got 1.7 on the Apple stock split. I got 1.1 on the Tesla split. Now, this was huge news. Had I been fucking Jim Cramer, everybody would have heard me talking about it. YouTube suppressed the information. I just want you to think about that. Let's go. Let's keep going. Okay, this is when Apple first hit $2 trillion. Okay, and then I was talking. Now, people keep asking me, oh, well, why don't you make videos about investing in property anymore, investing in stocks? It's this simple, because look how many views I got on it. If I did a video where I just hang around SRT Jeep Chrysler dealership, I would have gotten like 18 to 20,000 views on that video. But when I'm giving out information for free, not even making people pay me for information, this is what I get. I get 1,000 views. I get 1,000.6 views. That's what I get. I get no notifications. I get suppressed. That's what I get. So I just want you to, so when people ask me, why is it that you don't make a video? And listen, I know that some of y'all have made money off of the advice that I've put out. I know some of you have probably saved money off of the advice that I put out about staying away from fucking Bitcoin when that shit was over $50,000. Thing about it is the information's being suppressed. Think about that. Let's see. Most of this is COVID related. This right here, weed stocks making their move. That was 2 years ago. That's when Kamala Harris and Biden got in. My logic, as I said, was that Kamala Harris and Biden are going to be huge for weed stocks, because both of these people are like panderers to the Democrats, and they're panderers to the, the demographic that supports them. Marijuana legalization was at the forefront of the platform. So I knew that all you had to have done was buy into these weed stocks when they were fractions of pennies. And I knew that the Biden-Harris agenda was going to send them skywards. That was a simple logic. I talked about it ad nauseum. Look how many times I made videos about it. Look at the video. Look at the view counts. 1.1 thousand for the New Jersey, Mississippi, and Arizona when they started legalizing it state by state. Here I'm talking about it. Look at that, 1.1 views. I think YouTube's algorithm had something against the word marijuana. It doesn't really matter if they had some. They were suppressing the information. So had you bought in when I told you to buy it, you would have made money. But guess what? YouTube suppressed the information. So let's just think about that for a second. Okay, let's keep going. All right, I was talking about Chinese EVs. I will say this. Because of the COVID lockdown having sent most Chinese stocks straight to the shit, and then followed by Evergrande and that disaster with their real estate, my thing is, if you still hold EV stocks from China, I would keep holding them. I wouldn't sell them. I wouldn't sell them. The mere fact that 3 years could change a stock from 80 cents to $9 a share, don't get scared out. Because I had friends who got scared out of Alibaba and then they regretted it when Alibaba hit like $350. So anyway, let's keep going. I was talking about NVIDIA and the NVIDIA video cards. You see this? And then I was talking about weed stocks again. Up, up, up. That was 2 years ago. Let's keep going. And see, this is like, it's like going through like history. This is history right here. And I here I've got thousands and thousands of hours of just talking about what you should be doing with money to make money, and these motherfuckers made it so that I was only getting like 1,000 views a video. Look at that shit. Now, wait. Okay, this video was Anthony Cumia, and he got 111,000 views. That one wasn't mine. Then, you remember this? Stop the Squeeze? You remember when I started talking about GameStop and how you should stay away from it because these idiots were being lied to by the market manipulators? They were being told GameStop was going to go to $1,000. You remember that? Yeah, how much money did people lose on GameStop? I came out, I was fighting, I was arguing, I was fighting, I was yelling. GameStop's a pump and dump, pump and dump, pump and dump. That's what I kept saying. I said it's a scam. I got people on these Manosphere channels arguing with me. Oh, GameStop not a pump and dump. You don't know what you're talking about. We're going to the moon. That's pretty much where I started making fun of the moon thing. We going to the moon. We going to Pluto. You remember that? Yeah, how are they doing now? Robinhood. I started making fun of Robinhood because Robinhood restricted everybody from trading. You remember that? You remember? First of all, what was my logic? My logic was very simple. I was like, wait a minute. There's no way that a bunch of dumbass kids with a bunch of stimulus checks came up with the idea to do a short squeeze on a company. This is insider trading, pure and simple. I'm pretty sure that somewhere at the SEC, there's somebody there, or probably a group of people who think exactly like me. Let me repeat that. There's no way a bunch of dumbass kids with a bunch of welfare checks came up with the idea to do a short squeeze on a corporation. What did we find out? We found out that Roaring Kitty was an insider. That's what we found out. They quickly tried to brush it under the rug. Now, if I had been at the SEC, Roaring Kitty would have had allegations of insider trading slapped on his forehead, and he would have been in cuffs, and he would have been in jail. But that's a story for another time. And I want you to pay very close attention. GameStop crashes to $53. Are y'all still holding the line? No, I guess not. To the moon! We going to Pluto! What happened? That shit went to the fucking toilet. Well, weed stocks to the moon. How'd that go? Huh? Soon as the government got involved, after Kamala Harris and them, after they got in there, weed stocks went up, up, up. And then everybody cashed their money right out, and that shit plummeted like fuck. And I was like, yeah, I got to get out of this. I'll tell you a story. I probably told you. I was on the forums, and I was watching what was happening on the forums, right, for marijuana stocks. And there was some dude, and I was showing off my portfolio. I was like, yeah, look how high my portfolio is. Look at this. And this, you know what this dude told me? He was like, yeah, tell me how high it is tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And I was like, what? And that shit scared the shit out of me. And I kept looking. I was like, wait a minute. Does this guy know something I don't? Man, let me tell you something. Sure enough, he panicked me into selling. And sure enough, right after I sold, that shit went through the fucking floor. Like, it plummeted so fast. It was incredible. Like, I don't know whether and you know, it's another sad thing. After that guy told me that, I thought it was FOMO. I thought he was trying to make me afraid, and I thought he was trying to like sucker me out, right? And I blocked him on Facebook. Turned out the guy was right. And at that time, he was like, yeah, where those stocks going to be at 12 o'clock? And that scared the shit out of me. So I blocked him. I was like, yeah, you're just jealous that I made over $25,000 and you didn't. Sure enough, man, if I hadn't sold when I sold, he scared me right out too. You know, I tell you, this market is this market, there's scams and short squeeze. There's all types of shit going on. But I captured my gains, and I think I made a video following that where I took that money and I bought an AR-15. Kind of like Kyle Rittenhouse took his welfare stimulus check. He bought an AR-15, you know. We ain't so different, you and I. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. So let's see, and then I started making videos about it, how to avoid Ponzi schemes. Look at that. Pump and Dump Saga. I started talking about Roaring Kitty, how he was a criminal who hadn't been addressed yet. What is this? GameStop hearing, complete waste of time. The Congress didn't even know what was going on. How you got a Congress? They don't even know what's going on. What was this? Dividend stock started going up. Elon Musk just lost $20 billion. That was because he bet on Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency bust. Look at that. Roblox. Roblox was like $90. It went up there, so it's like, had you bought it when I had suggested it as a tech stock, you probably would have made some money, but the problem is you would have had to have sold that shit too, because Roblox was really, really popular with the kids, and that's what sent it up to like $90-something. But then there was another market crash, and that sent all the tech stocks right into the toilet. You remember Dogecoin? You remember that? You remember Elon Musk with his bets on crypto? Remember that? I got Elon Musk picture with tears in his eyes. You remember that? Have you gotten to the moon yet? This is when I straight out started making fun of Dogecoin owners. You remember that? With the Dodge, when he's got the spacesuit on. You remember that? Dogecoin? Remember that? You remember when New York legalized marijuana? Look at that. So my marijuana stocks went to the moon. I got pictures of the governor, Kamala Harris, everybody smoking weed. I don't even know where I found those pictures because I'm not good. I don't know how to use Photoshop. I'll be perfect. Like I've said this before, I don't know how to use Photoshop. I appreciate it for those people out there who make fun of our politicians and they got them smoking weed and stuff. So you gave me a great picture, whoever you are. And I use those pictures to mark history, basically. I should be like a historian or something, you know? So anyway, Coinbase. Now, let me tell you this. I got to say about Coinbase. Coinbase prepared their IPO, right? And the thing that I didn't really fully grasp about Coinbase or Robinhood was that these things were basically crypto trading. These were the main things being used for crypto. And the problem was crypto itself was shit. And these things basically ended up becoming something what you would call a double derivative. Cryptocurrency being a derivative, and now you got a derivative of a derivative. And when I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. This is just like how the housing market fell apart. There were people making bets on bets. That was what Coinbase and Robinhood were for. They were for making bets on crypto. So naturally, I tried to scare people out of Robinhood's IPO. And I was right, because Robinhood ain't shit right now. And it was funny because the way they started the trading on Coinbase, they made it so that they had it locked at a certain value, and you couldn't even see the value while their people were positioning themselves to suck the money out. As soon as everybody rushed in, they sucked that money right out. This is when it happened. Coinbase IPO day one. That's when it happened right there. That was 2 years ago. Let's see. Dogecoin, making fun of people with Dogecoin. Dogecoin, the Turkish government, making fun of them. Cryptocurrency is a Ponzi scheme. So I was saying that like 2 years ago, stealing all these photos in order to use them. Let's see. Inflation started attacking, and how we were worried about inflation. That was 2 years ago. Made fun of Dogecoin. $30 billion evaporated. Apocalypse, Mother's Day. Let's see. Apocalypse, stock market. And then if you keep going, this was right here. This right here. This was what I was constantly recommending to get into NVIDIA. 4-to-1 stock split. That was 2 years ago. So now we start getting more recent. And then I started talking about how should you build your portfolio to $100,000, investing small. You know, basically investing, I'd say, $2,000 to $3,000 a year trying to build your portfolio to see. And you know what's sad about it? The pandemic, everything crashed. That was a perfect time to reposition your money. That was a perfect time to put your money into things that were going to go up. So what did I do? I made my own index. I called it Man-Goat. Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, oil stocks, AMD, Amazon, Tesla. I called it Man-Goat. I think that video should come up soon, you know? And if you would reposition your money, look at this. This is where I was making fun of this guy with the Dogecoin. This guy lost $167,000 in one day. Yep, that's what you get for betting on the crypto. Bitcoin crashes below 30,000. Told you so. You remember that? 1 year ago. And that 1 year ago means that was when the Federal Reserve probably raised interest rates, and then they basically collapsed all of the people borrowing on margin. Here you go. I was talking about Robinhood's IPO. I'm pretty sure that I was telling people in that video, I was like, yeah, I don't think you should do it. Because I said, this shit looks like a scam. No bake, no gelatin, Cadbury. What the fuck? That's not even my video. That's somebody else's. China calls video games drugs. This was when China said, you know what? We're going to do something about this. We think that these video games, we think that these apps are turning our kids into morons. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start passing laws, and we're going to start restricting video games and apps. So the Chinese government, they said, you know what? We're not going to let our kids turn into stupid, idiot zombies. No. We're going to do something about it. See, this is what I love. I love being able to walk through history. I love it. Look at this. I was talking about buying real estate as an investment against inflation because I started seeing major gains. Then I started to, there it is, Man-Goat right there. I stole a picture somewhere of Man-Goat because that was the most Man-Goatish picture I could find. So there you go. That's my index, my personal index. Let's see. Rent instability, rent increasing, housing unavailability. I was talking about whether or not you could pay your mortgage with a credit card to get points. Then we started talking about Daniel here, a generation of American men giving up on college, dropping out of school. I got 8,000 views on that simply because of the hashtags like New York's. But even 8,000 views, that's not really not a lot when you think about it. I should have had more. But the information was being suppressed. El Salvador. I didn't even get 1,000 views on that. El Salvador, they thought they were big shit. Nayib Bukele thought that, oh yeah, we'll buy Bitcoin $55,000. And then turned around and bought it when it fell to $50,000. He bought the dip. Remember that? Buy the dip, everybody, buy the dip. Remember that? How you doing now, Nayib? If it was me, you'd have been impeached. Let's see. Investing in Lucid. That's when I was shopping for MDX. I was talking about credit cards. I want to go straight to the stock splits because I kept talking about these stock splits as they went. That's when Apple hit $3 trillion. See, I always bet on Apple because I know Apple knows what they're doing. Apple kicks ass. This was a picture of Nayib Bukele. Look right there. Buy the dip, everybody. 39,000 and dropping. Buy the dip. But the dip keeps dipping. No. You just full of FOMO. You don't know what you're talking about. Buy the dip. Remember that? How you doing, Nayib? Nayib, how you doing? Buy the dip. What happened? Exactly. I don't even want to hear it. Google announced their stock split. Google and Amazon basically announced their stock splits back to back. Now, I take full accountability. I told you to buy that Google. I told you to buy that Amazon. By the time all the split was done, I had 100 shares of Google. I had 100 shares of Amazon. What I never could have imagined was that Russia was going to invade Ukraine. I never could have imagined that. Russia invaded Ukraine. All the stocks tumbled right there. This is where it was. This was also where oil stocks shot up because America sanctioned Russia. Russia had over 600,000 barrels of oil coming to America. Over 1 million barrels of oil coming every single week. Cheap Russian oil. Russia put, they went into Ukraine. America put sanctions on them. And you know the rest, because I started talking right again about the oil stocks started to rise. So that's Vladimir Putin. In fact, one of these things I did with the Russian accent, and I had the Russian music in the background. Yes, this was it right here. Stock, but I didn't even get 1,000 views. You can't tell me that wasn't manipulation. You can't tell me that wasn't suppression. So there's people keep asking me, why don't you do these videos? Why? Because I don't get views on them. You know why? Because it's suppressed. What point, if I told you right now how to go out and get some money and I only get like 2 views on the video, why should I do it? It doesn't make sense. The information is being suppressed. Suppressed. The oil, look at this. Oil stock started shooting up. You see this? This is it. You see all these videos? I was doing back-to-back videos. My portfolio passed $100,000 on oil alone. But I couldn't tell you because it was being suppressed. Think about that. Just think about that. So here I am telling you how to make some money. Didn't charge you a dime. Did I ever charge you a dime? Did I ever ask you for a single penny? No. There are a couple of people who did super thanks on my channel. There are certain people who I could name who sent me, and I think I put it in community chat. There are certain people who sent me money as thanks in Cash App. There are people who sent me money on, what was that thing called? There was Super Chat, there was Super Thanks, and then there was Cash App. And I appreciate it. But I want you to understand something. I never, ever asked you for money. I never, ever told you buy my book. I never, ever, ever said buy my course. I never, ever said, you know what, I'm going to start a subscription service. Whether I'm right or wrong. Did I ever ask? No. I appreciate everybody who donated to me. I never asked. I never demanded. And yet my information was suppressed. That makes me upset. Because I couldn't have made you more money. Because nobody heard what I was saying. So when people ask me, they're like, why don't you make these videos more often? This is the reason why I don't bother doing it. Why bother doing it if I'm going to get suppressed? So there you go. All right. So here we go. America starts decoupling from Russia, boycotting, blah, blah, blah. So that's, oil stocks had shot the fuck up. Then I started saying, NFTs are a scam, and some people are trying to launder their money through NFTs. GameStop stock split. I never bought into that because I thought it was bullshit. I was like, wait a minute, GameStop already proved that shit. It's fake. It's a scam. It's a bankrupt company with a bankrupt business model. A lot of people lost a lot of money on that. This was when we started running out of certain things on the shelf. Airline stock futures. What else? Apple suggested buy now, pay later. Tesla announced a second stock split. That was 11 months ago. Second stock split. Federal Reserve started aggressively raising rates 11 months ago. I started making fun of Michael Shaler. Michael Shaler says if you have a Bitcoin in your pocket and you get on a plane, nobody knows how much Bitcoin you have. But if you had American dollars and you get on a plane, the government's going to tell you you can't get on the plane with $100,000. But if you have it in Bitcoin, you'd have thousands and millions of dollars. Yeah, you know how that went. So anyway, Bitcoin lost half its value, went to 17,000. Now, most people will say, oh yeah, well you're not talking about the fact that it's back up to $27,000, right? But then I would say, yeah, but you're not talking about the fact that it went up to 68,000 and everybody who bought in after 30,000 has lost more than 70% of their value. Case closed. Okay, so where are we now? There's Nayib Bukele. Right there. I was trying. Oh, Naeem, how them laser eyes doing when you're at 17,000? Huh, asshole? Okay, keep going. Then I brought up an old video where comptroller David Walker was on Glenn Beck's channel. No, not his channel. Glenn Beck was on CNN, and the comptroller warned us many, many years ago about the U.S. coming to this point right here. $32 trillion in debt almost. He warned us about this a long time ago. But y'all don't even know who the comptroller is. Y'all don't know who David Walker is. I brought it up. And sure enough, now here we are. And this video was 15 years ago. This video was during the Obama administration. Oh no. This video was before the Obama administration, if I'm not mistaken. But it doesn't really matter. It's like besides, even if you wanted to know about it, I only got 1,000 views, 1.4 thousand views. I was being suppressed. You wouldn't have heard about it. You wouldn't have heard about it at all. Oh well. It's just sad. This was when YouTube unhid the subscriber count, so now you can find out that most of these people's channels were dry and there weren't that many people on them. This was when student loans started kicking people's asses. I love that picture of that girl right there. She's like sitting on the curb. She's like, what am I going to do with my future? I'm deep in debt and I don't have a sugar daddy to pay for it. Okay, what's this? This is a doctor who was a 5-figure podiatrist who was like almost $1 million in student loan debt. So despite being a doctor, she's broker than me. I've never been in debt like that. That's insane. What is it? Let's see. Credit cards, Tesla stock split 2022. Let's see. Bad credit, student loans, rent crisis. Anything else good? Tesla completes its stock split. Let's see. Single mambos 204. So basically, yeah, as you can see, I tried. I did my best. And I don't even blame you because after all, my information was being suppressed. So I really can't even blame you. The only people I can blame for that one was YouTube. Yeah, I guess that's just what it is. U.S. diesel shortage, and then we start getting more to, because I was putting together a couple of these things, Yeah, this is the video right here, Ed Gunleshy. This guy has great videos, but YouTube suppresses his channel too, Ed Gunleshy. And he's got over 200,000 subscribers, and they still suppress his channel. It's amazing. Okay, let's see. Anything else really good here? I was talking about the current state of mortgages, investing in 2023, my suggestions. Yeah, crypto crash, banks were, and it was only a couple of banks. Basically, any of those stupid ass banks that bet on cryptocurrency, they got screwed. I was talking about betting on chips. That was 2 months ago before we started seeing these skyrocketing. Have you seen AMD, Micron, and NVIDIA lately? Yeah, this is what I was talking about. I was talking about Taiwan Semiconductors, AMD, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple. I was talking about the main tech hitters. But what good is it? I mean, I only got one. But why is it that all these videos get limited to like 1.4, 1.5? Why is that? You have to wonder. It's almost as if like there's something like nefarious going down. Look at these recent videos. My NVIDIA stock shot up so goddamn much that it dragged Microsoft, AMD, and Micron upwards with it. But even if you counted up all the views that I got on the last 3 videos, it comes out to less than 1.5. So that's my point. As you can see, 429 videos. I think I started by talking about weed stocks. That was before the Biden-Harris administration. That was back during the Trump administration when I was like, you know what? You can make some money off weed stocks. And then after weed, it was oil. And then after oil, it was like, certain levels of tech. And the question is, my bottom line, how many people made money off of what little advice they got from me? And that's the first question. Second question, how do you feel about YouTube censoring or suppressing information that could have been used to make you money that you probably couldn't have seen because they suppressed it? So that's all I had to say.